And we are a
It's
minute late.
Yep. Let's oh, you know what? Really quickly, I am going to make sure that we're unmuting, and David, I am making you the co-host. Okay, hey everyone, welcome to this YouTube stream. Here we go, and we're admitting the people. Good day to the people on the Zooms. It's another day. It's called Thursday. Yeah, my voice is a little, huh? You hear that? What's going on? She didn't warm up. That's what's up. That's not what's up. That's bad. That's down. Down. Okay. Hi, everyone. If I could reach out the here we go. All right, everybody is in. I think we're kind of opening the Zoom rooms. Good morning, afternoon, evening, day to you all. Welcome, welcome. We're just filing the humans in. Is that the voice of an angel? Yes,
Filing
Charles.
the humans in.
Only angels can let the humans into the Zoom rooms. Hi, everybody. Great to see you again. Welcome, welcome. This is another Thursday with David and Siobhan. We've done this 36 times. It's our 36th AMA sesh of the modern world. And
Sesh.
if,
If you abbreviate every word, we can
yeah,
get through, we can get through twice the content in the hour.
that's right. That's right. It's a time-saving mechanism. It is not a youthful slang. It's an efficiency. You
Yes,
know,
that would be a
uh,
fish.
y- it's totally a fish to book a coaching sesh with David Goldberg. Look at that, or as we call him, DG. Yep, that's a prime example.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
everyone. What's up, Luke? Hey, everybody. Cool. Let's get these intros going. Nice to see you. Hey, yeah, you look great. I love the dark shades of lipstick happening in the Zoom squares. We got John back. We got Vanessa. Tim, hi. Great to see you. We got Jean. John is looking fly as well. I like that burgundy shade you're wearing today. Okay, so hi, how's the car? Oh my gosh, the car. I paid a lot of money to fix a water pump on my car, you guys. Sucks, but I shelled out because I'm a responsible car owner. Um, but so this is our Ask Me Anything session here at Edge Studio. The way this is gonna fly, my name is Siobhan O'Loughlin. I am your host for this hour, and we're already popping. The chat is popping. You can let us know how you're doing. Glad to see you too, Carla. Bone china is the traditional gift for a 36th anniversary. David, we deserve bone china. I don't even know what that means, but I'm down for someone to educate me.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm scared to eat off of plates like that. I'm good with plastic.
every time we learn something new about our personal lives, don't buy bone china for David. He doesn't want it. Um, right. So we've already said hello, but let's do an official greetings to our Chief Edge Officer, David Goldberg. How's your day?
It's great. Hello, everyone. Hello, Siobhan. Hello, everyone. Hey, guys. So I'm going to throw this out there, and I didn't even warn Siobhan that I'd be asking this question. But over the past week, I had a conversation with one of the regulars on this Ask Me Anything call. And I wrote, and in my email, we were emailing back and forth, and I said, why do you come to every one of these sessions? I was curious. And I really enjoyed reading her answers. I would really enjoy knowing what all of you enjoy about the Ask Me Anythings. What is it that brings so many of you back week after week, or every other week after every other week, as it may be? Um, I can certainly understand when we have guests on, which is about half of the time, right? You get information from someone new. But when it's just Siobhan and myself, um, what is it that drives you? What is it that brings you back? If you guys at some point can throw in the chat a couple of words, nothing long, please. Um, but it would be really interesting for me to oh, sorry about that. I think out of 36 sessions, that is the first time that I forgot to shut my ringer off. There it goes. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what it is that you guys like. And maybe we can do more of that. Maybe we'll find some common denominators. So yeah, if someone who's been on here multiple times doesn't mind, just throw into the chat what kind of brings you back every week. And
I
yes,
love
hello
this.
everyone. I hope you had a great 2 weeks. I do enjoy these sessions. And Siobhan, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you. And thanks everybody for yeah, dropping in stuff in the chat. And also, like, if there's something that you desire out of an AMA that we haven't done in our 36 times, I'm as a voice actor and an actor, I'm so good at criticism. I really am. So if there's something you are like lacking that you're like, oh, we would love to see more of this. David and I love, just a healthy evolution. So that's really great. But you guys are already rocking it. If it is your first time at our AMA, and you're probably Zoom kings and queens and other good Zoom humans, but you can choose how you want to observe this. You can, in your view bar, you can either do gallery mode or speaker. I record these on gallery because I love your faces. But if you really want to look at me or David, speaker is going to be the way to go. Otherwise, you drop in questions up in the chat because we're unmuted, not because I don't love your beautiful voices, but because it's a wild Zoom world and we got to hold some kind of control over our lives, even if it's minimal. But so, so drop your questions in the chat, thoughts, feelings, and we will get right into it, voiceover related. And basically that's how this hour goes, is we just talk about things, and David and I, and we'll unmute people if we feel like we need more clarification. And that is, that's how we do. So welcome, and I'm happy to see everyone. And also, I really hope, David and I have been doing these. We did them sort of in the onset of the pandemic, and I just hope that it's something we can kind of maintain regardless, because some things I'm seeing in the chat are, I like seeing everybody and hearing from people, is what Luke said, and community is what John said. And for me, that's like a really important part of this as well. So just being together, panini or non, I think is really wonderful. Mission accomplished. Okay. So I wanted to jump into, we'll do comments, but we'll also do the questions. And the first one I saw was from Tony. What's up, Tony? Tony's asking, what is the best way to set up a website when just starting out? I have some kind of quick tips, but David, I'd love to hear, this is a common kind of question, but what are some essentials for your website when you're new?
The number one criteria, I think, when creating a website for your voiceover business is to consider it from your client's perspective. In other words, what is it that they need, right? This website is not for you. It's not about you. It's for them. It's what they need. And so think about those things. What is it that they need? Sorry, my phone is going crazy over here. I really wish I'd remembered to shut it off. The clients, I think, need three things. I think that they need a way to, actually, I want to interrupt myself and say that we have a production department here. So we also hire voice actors, and we go through the casting process. So when I talk about what we need in a website, this is based upon what we need when we are finding voice actors, as well as all the clients that we are working with. And ultimately, yeah, I think it comes down to three things. Your demo has to be super simple to hear. Like, it should be on the main page, the front page. I cannot count how many times I've gone to websites, and it's a challenge to find the demos. So that's sort of weird. That's really the number one reason why someone will go to your website. Put the demos up front and center. If you want extra demos on another page, that's fine. That's great. But then have a page called demos, or put an anchor link at the top of the page called demos, and let people drop down to it. Make it super clear and call them demos. Don't try to be cute and say samples or things like that, or segments, or hear me, because lots of people are just looking for that 4-letter word, demos. And internationally speaking, and this is an international business, people from other countries who may not speak English as their first language, they are going to look for the word demos. So keep it simple. Second thing someone needs, they need to know that you are trustworthy. You need to convey trust. You need to convey convey the feeling that the person who's about to hire you can trust you. And so that comes in the form of showing past examples of work, logos of clients you've worked with, testimonials, and if you are brand new, as I think the asker is, then you want to put down the amount of training you've had, and the names of people in the industry that you've worked with, and show pictures of your studio that you're set up and running, and use positive adjectives. Don't just say things like, I have a studio. Say, I have a broadcast quality studio, thoroughly tested, ready for action, whatever it might be. The third and final thing is make it easy for someone to contact you. This also is bizarre to me. but there are a lot of voice actor websites out there, and it's hard to get in touch with the person. Now, we are often in a rush. Well, let me rephrase that. Our clients are often in a rush. It's pretty common that clients contact us and say, "Hey, we have this big job. Sorry, it's last minute. Can you do this right away?" We at that point really prefer to talk with a voice actor. We want to call someone up, a voice actor on the phone, and say, "Hey, we have this job. Are you available this afternoon or tomorrow, or it's 20 hours of work over the next week? Do you have that kind of flexibility in your schedule?" And yeah, very often we want to call, but we can't find a phone number, or we can't find the email address, and it's buried at the very base of the email, or rather at the base of their website. Make it easy for someone to find you. Put your email address and your phone number at the top of every page, at the bottom, wherever you can stick it. Just do so. And lastly, I will say about contacting or being contacted is that a lot of voice actors prefer not to give out their phone number and email address, and instead they have a form on their website that says "Contact me." That is very suspect to me in the sense that so many voice actors don't respond quickly enough to those forms, that I'm at the point in my career now that if I need to get in touch with a voice actor quickly, I just assume that there's a greater than 50% chance that if I fill out the form, I won't hear from the voice actor quickly enough. So I don't even trust them. I'd rather just find the next voice actor who has a phone number or an email address. So ideally, you always have a phone number and email address. And like I said, if you don't want to give out your personal email address and phone number, then remember, you're a business. You're supposed to have a phone number and an email address. Get a Google number, get a different address, do something. Um, but make it easy for people to contact you. So in sort of like putting all of that together, number one, make it easy for people to hear you. Number two, make it easy for them to trust you. And number three, make it easy for them to contact you. That's my
I
soapbox spiel.
I agree with all of that. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of conversation about phone number. People don't do phone numbers. People do. I think the Google Voice solution is really helpful because it's not your personal phone number. It's a phone number you can have for free. And it also makes me wonder if, like, at some point on an AMA, we should like do a demo of showing folks how to get a Google number. It's pretty simple, but it can be a helpful thing. Another thing I would say is just to kind of handle some of the questions that come out about websites. Um, you know, you if you feel like your website is sparse, I feel like it is okay to have a simple site because, as David was saying, you really just need a landing page for people to be able to contact you. That's the ultimate thing, that your demos and your contact information are front and center. And another like piece of advice I've given folks is, like, if you've been training with a coach, which all new folks, we highly recommend all new folks do, get a testimonial from your coach about how great you are to work with. Get, like, if you're working at Edge, if you're working with Edge, your education advisor and your coach could give you a little nugget of a sample to put a sweet, sweet quote about how great you are. So that if you're looking for ways to kind of flesh it out, those are things that I recommend. Logos are also wonderful if you've got the kind of budget to work with an artist to make you something that looks, pretty and professional and sort of speaks to your personal brand. Ideally, your coach is talking to you about your niche, your wheelhouse, the kinds of things you're more likely to get jobs for, which helps you kind of come up with your feel, the feel for your website. I often, when I'm working on a website, I make a Pinterest board for colors and themes and concepts that speak to me as I'm sort of thinking about how I want to represent myself online. And so then if I'm working with a web designer, I can send them my Pinterest board and they can see what inspires me and what I feel represents me. And I think that those are some good, helpful ways to kind of just think about how you're presenting, because it's kind of like with the resume. The website is a little bit of a resume first and foremost, like how you're landing on it, what you look like, and that sort of thing. Do not be overwhelmed. It is okay. Simple websites are also very good because, to David's point, we don't need a lot. We do not need an image gallery of you in the booth. Even if you're cute, we don't need it. So I think, yeah, I just want people to feel excited about their website and not scared or overwhelmed. That's my hope for everybody here.
Yeah, so let me throw in thanks. I agree with everything Siobhan said. Let me throw in some add-ons here. So if you haven't worked with any client yet, do it one volunteer job. Do it for a friend who owns a business or something. Just record their phone system, and then you can put their logo up on your website and say featured recent or most recent job or featured job, and write up a little blurb about it. Now it sounds like you're actually working. Next thing is, yeah, we don't need an image gallery. I think, however, it's nice to have a photo. If, and this is important, if you sound like you look, or I could say if you look like you sound, right? So if your voice sort of matches the way you look, I think it can be nice to see someone, but that picture should be a good picture of you at the studio. We don't need to see you on vacation with your pet dog somewhere in a forest or something. It should be a picture of you in front of your booth. It doesn't need to be a super duper amazing, high quality professional, photograph. Just get someone who has a steady hand and can take a relatively decent shot. And I think that is really nice. Oh, there was one other point I was going to make based on what you said, Siobhan, and I forgot it now. If it comes to me, I'll blurt it out.
Yeah, if it comes, we'll just interrupt whatever train we're on to go back to it. But yes, on the subject of photos, people have nice iPhones now. Like if you can get someone to take a picture of you in your booth that looks, profesh, and what everyone here is a smart and lovely person. You know what we mean. But yes, to that point, we don't need you on vacation. We don't need alcohol in your photos or, a professional presentation. It's the vibe. So if there are more questions regarding that, we can pop to them. I'm sort of going from the top on down. So Luke had a quick question that I'm just going to throw right to David. What does deferred pay mean? What does that mean?
I've used it I've heard it rather in a couple of different instances and ways, but usually it means that your payment, I believe. Oh, wait, you know what, Siobhan? This is one of those answers that I think I should say this is friendly advice and not legal advice. Who knows? I don't want anyone to sign a contract and say, well, David said deferred payment means one thing, and that's what I thought it meant. So this is friendly advice. I have just heard it in the realm of being that your payment will be deferred. You won't get it right away, and that could be because you're doing like a new business that's launching and they need to wait for payment for their own money to come in, or they're waiting for a capital investment. Um, they could be watching numbers of views on something and paying you based upon that. There are all different reasons why a company may defer their payment. But to my understanding, that is what deferred payment is. There may be something else that it means, and I'm not familiar with. And that would be interesting if anyone else out there knows what else deferred payment can mean, then put it in the chat, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also what I love about this community of people is like chiming in and dropping their experiences and advice. And so we're talking about website hosting. For me, I love Squarespace, but a lot of people are saying they love Wix, like I think like you're gonna have to find what works for you, as we say with everything in, when you're running your own business. But I like to work with designers that I don't have to make it all from scratch myself because it stresses me out. But if it doesn't stress you out, then rock on. But we had Tom Deere with us a while ago, and he's like, your time is more important than your money, particularly your time that is well spent. So like, I'm very good at writing copy. I can write about myself. I don't need to pay someone to write about myself, but I am not good at building a website from scratch. I'm just not. And it stresses, and it's not worth it. It's worth it to me to pay someone to build it and then have it look pretty, and then I can edit it, but whatever, right? So I just wanted to throw that in there.
And wait,
Okay,
wait,
David.
Siobhan, and you just reminded me of the other point on the website. I wanted to say, I I sort of agree and sort of disagree with what you said, Siobhan. And we could everyone on the call could send in their thoughts, but I don't think it's really pertinent to have a fancy logo. I don't think you necessarily need to hire a graphic artist to create a logo for you. There are a lot, and I mean a whole lot of professional voice actors who don't really have logos. So you go to their website, it's just their name, it's just some words. Maybe a photo of them at the booth with the headphones on, at the microphone, their name, and it says something of the effect of a professional voice actor. No fancy logo. Certainly, the website should look professional, without a doubt. And if you cannot make a website that looks professional, then have someone do it for you. Okay, I'm totally backing you up on that, Siobhan. Um, it is sometimes frightening when we go to websites of voice actors and man, it looks homemade. And we just start. It's a negative. Our first impression is like, ooh, what's that? And you don't want that as anyone to have that first impression of you. So everything that is on your website should look cool and great and professional. But yeah, again, I don't think you need to spend a lot of money on logos.
We only want homemade if you're bringing us a pie. Then we're like, that looks
A good pie.
homemade.
Yes.
And now I'm excited. Um, okay, so yes, I mean these are longer conversations, some people like their logos to put on their invoices, and then that looks really good, but you also can just have a pretty font, I mean these are big. We can really get into the weeds with this forever, and someday we'll all be at a party or a conference or something and we can hang out and talk about this stuff because this is fun party conversation. It is for me. I don't know what that says about me,
But
but
but even payment these days, so much of it is done electronically through Venmo and Zelle and whatever, that there's not even a logo involved anywhere, or unless you send someone like a special page. But very often transactions are done without much much branded material.
that's true. And that's true. I'm talking like invoices in particular. I brand my invoices, you guys. I don't know. What is it? I don't know. You don't have to though.
Well, if you have a logo, definitely use it. And if you are invoicing someone, then definitely brand it without question.
These are the weeds of it, really. But so David, I have a kind of voice acting type question right now, script reading question from I'm gonna say Suzanne, what's without an E. Also, I think someone was saying it's their first time here, and I don't remember who it is, but welcome, welcome. Thanks for being with us. Okay, so when a dollar amount, David, is in a script and you don't know the preference of the client, do you say, let's say that it's $50.50. Do you say 50/50, or do you say $50.50?
I would say
You see what I'm
5,005 pennies. I'm kidding. Yeah, there's no answer. There's for any question like that. There's no one right way. It depends on so many variables. It depends on the media in which you're playing this on and who's listening to it and the purpose of it. If the client wants the script to sound formal or informal, if it's being played internationally or not. These things are key. You have to know these things. So the only thing you need to know is to ask the client what their preference is. And if you're unable to speak with a client, then give them some alternate takes. Do what you think is best. So I was working on a script earlier this morning with a voice actor, doing just someone who works at a company needed to record something, and I was directing them. Just internal stuff. But in the script, there were some numbers, and they were all supposed to convey magnitude. So if the number 1,000 comes up, they were saying like we have 1,000 employees, and I said, well, the reason the scriptwriter put the word 1,000 or 1,000 in there is to show the magnitude of how many employees there are. And I said, it sounds nicer to say 1,000. We have 1,000, or actually we have over 1,000 employees rather than we have over 1,000. I think 1,000 adds more magnitude, makes it sound bigger. It's more impressive. But again, that was a formal script for inside a large corporation. So yeah, like I said, base it upon lots of variables. If you can ask the client, that's great.
I agree with all of that. I'm sure folks have received scripts and maybe had to kind of contact the client and say, hey, what would you prefer? Or I've often said, I'm totally available to do pickups if I'm saying something in a way you don't desire, but you're going to have to kind of work with people, and it's good to be able to kind of I mean, this is, as David said, people are often in a rush. So if you get your scripts and you read over them, that you can fire away any questions kind of in the immediacy of it has been helpful to me to say, hey, like I did a thing that had an acronym for EED&I, right? And I was like, do you want me to read the acronym? Like, how do you want me to do that? Like, and I did it right away because I was like, let me just glance for these things, even if it's not due until a couple of days or whatever. I was like, let me make sure I ask any of those types of questions kind of immediately so that I have time, they have time to get back to me. That's something I would recommend. But yeah, these
So
are good
wait,
questions. And
yeah, and a couple more thoughts on that. So very often voice actors miss the word dollars. So when we get auditions back, or even some jobs sometimes. If the script says the cost is $50.50, the dollar symbol may be there. And voice actors forget to say the word dollars. Where the word dollar is there, maybe it's in the form of the symbol. You know what I mean by the S with the two vertical lines up and down through it. But that does represent the word dollar, and you should say it. Second thing I want to throw in is when you are recording, like at the time of recording, record every iteration you can think of the script if you haven't received clarification from the client. Just record 5 iterations of it. So if you have this dollar amount, you could say yours for just $50.50, yours for just 50/50, yours for just $50.50, $50.50, whatever. Think of all of the iterations and record them right then on the spot. So if the client gets back to you and they say, yeah, we don't like the one you sent us, then you already have it recorded, and you've recorded it at a time when your voice is in the same energy level and you're at the same microphone. Um, if you only record it one time and the client says, "Oh, can you go back and read it a little differently?" Well, now you need to go back and match the recording levels and the settings and make sure you're standing at the same position relative to the microphone. And maybe the edit works easily, maybe it doesn't. So just get them all done. It takes a minute, and you save yourself a lot of time on the back end.
That's a good point. Even if it doesn't take a minute, but you did it and it's done for whatever the client desires. That's good advice. It's like David knows what he's talking about, y'all. So
Thanks.
okay.
One of those
So
few
from
times in my life.
we got to give credit when it's due, because who knows what's down the line. So okay, from John, is there a specific job title to connect with when trying to do business with larger organizations? So we're talking about pitching. I think I know what David's going to say, but here we
Yeah.
go.
I think you guys should all have multiple titles. Seriously, change your title to suit your potential client. That is absolutely critical.
I think
Because if you contact a corporation, like this corporation I worked with earlier today, they're putting out like a massive, crazy, insane, massive series of training videos and compliance videos. So I'm directing them on all of these videos. It's like 10 weeks of directing, and a whole lot of different voice actors. And so if you contact one of these voice actors or the video editor or the production department and say, hey, I'm a voice actor, their instinct is to think, well, you're a commercial voice actor, you record commercials. And they're going to say, well, we don't need voice actors, but they really do. But if you call yourself a corporate narrator, then they might say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We need corporate narration. Um, really think about who you are contacting and modify your title so it matches to their needs. And that I really believe can get you a lot more work.
I think, David, the question might have been about when you're pitching, who are you looking to talk to at the organization or the
Oh, forgive me.
yeah, just a
Oh,
thought.
but again,
Yep,
that
I
depends.
got you, John. I got you.
Uh, Thanks for the clarification. Sorry for my slowness. Um, yeah, there are lots of people that contact at a corporation. That depends on the kind of work you're going after. And in the corporation like I'm working with right now, there is an ad department, there's a marketing team, there are video editors, like a whole series of video editors in-house that need voice actors. There's an HR department, I'm sure. I haven't spoken with the HR department there. I have no need to, but I'm sure they have an HR department for the company this size, and they need people to record. There's a communications department. You can contact all of these different departments and just change your title on each one. And if you're contacting the marketing team or the ad team, then send them your commercial demo and call yourself a voice actor. And if you're contacting the HR department or the communications department and the training team and the sales team, then call yourself a corporate narrator.
Boom. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, often our answers are like, it depends. But like with
It
working with
does.
these corporations, it really does in these businesses. And like, I don't know if people are like all up in the LinkedIn. Like, I just try to kind of connect with whoever I can at a business to just kind of be like in the network. And you never know who manages these kinds of things or who talks to who. It's sort of like it's going to really vary, unfortunately. But
Oh,
it's
look,
good that
we have. Oh, sorry, Siobhan. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say it's good that you're thinking about it because pitching is part of the job.
Yeah, it is. And you're saying that sometimes you don't know who knows who and stuff. We've had many times over the years, corporations have contacted us. Multiple people within the same corporation will contact us asking for voiceover work. And we'll say, oh yeah, just last week we heard from, another department at your company. And they say, oh really? Well, we just found you on Google. There's not necessarily communication from one department to the next, which is weird and interesting, but that's another topic, another day perhaps. But anyway, so you can contact all of these various departments independently of one another.
Okay. Yeah, actually, it's a really good point. Yeah, just fire away. And you know what? I was doing some pitching stuff yesterday, and I felt cringy and I hated it, and my stomach was kind of like, but I did it. I was like, I put in an hour, of like sending those kinds of targeted emails. And if I can do it, so can you, because we're out here. Mercedes or Mercedes. I think I've done this before where I've been like, which one is it? So please give me a pronunciation guide in the chat just so that I am perfect next time. But okay, does the shape, David loves this, home studio builds, here we go. Does the shape of acoustic foam matter that much? I know about incorporating thick curtains, and I'm finally working on my closet studio. Very excited for you. What should the shape of our acoustic foam look like, David?
Yeah, I think you should cut it out into smile faces, because if you're excited and happy, then, you'll do a better job. That would actually be really fun to make smile faces. Yeah, the shape does count. I mean, there is a reason why acoustic foam has variation in its surface, right? It's kind of bumpy, like an egg carton sort of shape, like ins and outs. I don't know how much difference it makes. So for example, if you have a 2-inch piece of foam, 2-inch thick piece of foam, and one has the eggshell sort of shape, the bumpiness to it, and one doesn't. I don't know how much difference it will make. Maybe it would make more difference in a music studio where you have more different instruments and different frequencies from different instruments, perhaps. But you're just dealing with one voice. So I think that if you just have flat foam, you're probably fine. The more important thing is that every surface of your booth is covered with foam or something else that will soak up the sound waves. But when foam has various shapes in it, or even if it's a piece of wood with various shapes in it, they're called wood diffusers. What they what the shapes do is they break up standing waves. That's the point of it. Is best my understanding is it breaks up the standing sound waves. So a wave can hit a different shape and bounce in different directions and help scatter the sound and help mitigate or even hopefully eliminate flutter echo, which is when sound goes back and forth between two hard surfaces, like a brrr sound. So if you kind of if you diffuse the sound waves, then theoretically the sound is cleaner. But like I said, voice is typically not that loud, so I don't really know if it makes that much difference.
Cool. Okay. I'm about to bring the heat. It's Dina who's actually bringing the heat. I'm just about to serve it. So this is some heavy stuff. We're gonna get into it because actually it's perfect because it's just me and David to kind of talk about this. And it's important to not ignore these issues because they are sort of rising in our community and in the world as we know it. So, David, from Dina. I attended some sessions at the Women in Voice event last month. I wish I had done that. That's really good. Good on you, Dina. It was all about AI voices and the multitude of companies, so many, who are tooling up to disrupt what we know currently as voiceover. It was incredibly depressing. The voice actor was barely part of the discussion, and even pay to play sites are pivoting to accommodate those new clients. How do we voice actors and people who work in this industry of human beings, how do we pivot to keep real voices vital and relevant? Thank you, Dina.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, she's bringing the heat.
Yeah, no, it's a very logical question, and it's one that I have spent a lot of time researching and talking with people in the industry. I've actually spoken with people who are owners of companies now that are putting out the AI voices. Um, it had been a concern when it first became a bit more prevalent a few years ago, and so many companies were just starting to like launch or do their build out their sites and their software. But I don't predict that this is going to hurt our business, not in the near future. I'm still investing in Edge. So, that's my confidence, but that's just me, so I don't know. Here's the way I see it. And as brief as I can be, there is so much voiceover work, and the amount of voiceover work is expanding so quickly that I think that even as AI voices take over some of the work, they will take over a smaller percentage of how quickly this industry is growing. So I'm hearing AI voices on some government telephony systems, and they sound horrible. And certainly technology will get better, and they will sound more human. But I don't think in our lifetime, and maybe I'm older than some of you, but I don't think, at least in my lifetime, I'm going to see the situation where there's absolutely no need for voice actors. There's just so much work out there. And one of the hardest things for these companies has been, well, two things: trying to get the voice to sound absolutely human, but then secondly, giving it humanistic qualities. So where does emphasis go, and timing and dramatic pauses? These things are really hard. And so what's been happening on very short recordings is an AI voice will take the text and replace it with voice, with human words. But then someone has to go in and sort of edit each word to get the intended inflection and timing and all of that stuff. And it takes so long for someone to fine tune every word or every syllable that I just don't see it replacing us. So, I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, but right now I don't see it happening in some number of years.
So my sort of y'all know me and my sort of emotionality of what the work, I guess. And so what I would say too is I think it's really important that we continue to support each other, to champion each other. I mean, I've seen a lot of you like on socials, like cheering each other on, and I really appreciate that one person's VO success is all of our VO success, and to continue to sort of push ourselves out there. I mean, for instance, my friend I'm staying with, she was working. And there was like a presentation that was happening on her computer, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, the moderator's just like reading the slides. It's really painful." And I was like, "I'm available for training for that." And I just like, and I just like think that we should continue to be like, I can help with that. Like I know how to read slides with where it's not killing the 150 people who are in that seminar, and like I really think that we need to continue to push ourselves as we need to like be out there and say like I have this skill, and it's a skill, which means it can be learned. I can train. I can. I'm part of this thing that is beyond. We don't want to listen to robots like read our slideshows for seminars that are 2 hours long for corporate trainings. Like we don't like that's not helpful. That's not conducive to the learning of the people in that environment. So it's a big question and it's a big thing. And I think to David's point, yeah, like a robot at this point can't, do what we do. But we also have to continue to put ourselves out there as doing this thing and that this thing is important. So that goes back to gathering your testimonials. LinkedIn is really great for that too. I'm always like chasing people. Anytime I do a thing, I'm like, can you send me a testimonial? Like I'm kind of annoying like that, but I just feel like it's really important for people to see the benefit of the skills that we present. So, you know, they replace us once and use it for years. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement for this new tech. They love what they're able to do. It's getting very good, and we're not part of that conversation. Yeah, and they don't want to spend money too, right? Like they're kind of trying to cut corners and save money. It seems like, which is another reason to use the robot. Um, I'm from Resemble.ai, and we include the voice actors in the discussion. I started as a voice talent myself with them and was recently brought aboard to bring on new talent. We work with voice talent to create a TTS from their original data, and we are looking to add more. Okay, wow. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, David, is Edge doing anything with AI?
Not really. Um, the first time I was introduced to it was at a two studios ago, two locations ago. So that would have been 9, 16, just over 16, about 17 or 18 years ago. And I believe it was Lucent Technologies. Wow, if my memory serves me, came in and they wanted to try something like AI. And they found a female voice actor who they felt had the perfect voice. And they had her record every individual sound, every different sound that we make in our language. And they would try to piece it all together. And it sounded horrible when their systems finally put things together. Since then, no, we don't do that much because clients come to us because they want human voice actors. And I don't know, I still see our work and people in the industry just getting more and more work. So the
Mm,
the the need is out there for humans.
mm, mm. Yeah, but I think it's really important for us to talk about this stuff too, and to
Absolutely, sure.
support each other. Yeah, and so thank you, Dina. And if people have other thoughts or feelings, that's good news, says Kay. Also, hey Cleon, I'm seeing you in your square. Yeah, chilling in on the islands. Yeah, and I could hear from Tim, I've heard a lot of AI voices that I could easily identify as an AI voice, and when I hear one, all I want to do is contact the producer of their work and let them know that their production would be better with a real person. Yeah, totally. So like FYI. Yeah, but I mean literally like I often sort of champion the kind of work you get starting out from the connections that you know. And so that's why I'm saying too, like when people share this information with us, we're like, yeah, I could do that, and I have my rates are totally reasonable, and your base, your networks, your clients would benefit from my skills. And again, that goes back to pitching, which as I've said, makes me feel sick to my stomach, but getting better at it all the time. So okay, we got 20 minutes to continue to rock and roll, and then I want to talk. Okay, oh, Tia's gone, so I'll skip that question. That was a good question from Scott. What's up, Scott? Great to see you in our space. If I am going to set up an LLC, is it best or even necessary to set it up in my home state, or should I pick Delaware? If you're in Delaware, we love you. Just FYI. But yeah, David,
Yeah,
what's the
so
deal?
I think that Edge Studio was the first LLC in Connecticut, which is not much of a claim to fame, but it's something. Because when we were setting up, and this is back in, I think it was 19, possibly like 92 or 93, whatever the year was. The LLCs were really brand new. When I went to a lawyer and I said, look, I want to set up this business, uh, they were telling me about LLCs, and I had never even heard of such a thing. Like it was really brand new. Yeah, we were the first one in Connecticut, I think. Um, I don't know enough to be able to say if it still makes more sense to set up in Delaware, as a lot of companies do. Um, that's not my area of expertise. But I feel like, and this is just hearsay, so friendly advice and hearsay, but I think that it's more about corporations being set up in Delaware rather than necessarily LLCs. If anyone has any information on that, let me know. I believe that the corporate laws in Delaware are more flexible, and so a lot of corporations are set up there. LLC, I guess by definition, is a type of corporation, maybe, but it does, but it certainly follows a different set of rules. There are some LLCs that I am sort of intertwined with that follow a corporate tax structure, but they are still LLCs. So I don't really understand how these two intermingle and where they divide. So it's a good question for a lawyer, a business lawyer.
Yes, as we have said, friendly, not legal advice. And of course, I wanna honor that, and people can sort of talk about what they have, if they have, or if they chose not to. Additionally, there was a question about what kind of software you use for, I think it was regarding invoicing and things like that. So if people, I know that Dina was saying she uses FreshBooks. So if people use a program or interface for that information, we would love to know, because Cam was asking, okay, let me get it, I'm scrolling, and it was, can you recommend voice over business accounting software? That's really going to vary, but if people want to drop in the chat anything that they use, that's really good. What do I use for receipts? I use Expensify to categorize my business expenses. It's like $5 a month, and it's cool, it's lovely. But other people use QuickBooks and all the big things. So do what you need to do. Okay, then I know that all right, I'm gonna get to everybody. I'm doing this thing, working projects. Okay, we have okay, Tia, what are your thoughts? Okay, here we go. David, what are your thoughts on sites like Fiverr, Upwork, and other websites like that?
I think that there is a place for them in this world, but I'd rather not have the voiceover be part of that place. um, I think that they end up screwing the artist in this case being the voice actor. It's like a downward bidding issue. I mean, you guys should not be doing a job for $5 or $10. I just think that that is undercutting yourself. Your services are worth more, and you should get more money. There's I can understand why people do it because there's a lot of work coming through those sites. I mean, a whole lot of work, but you may have to work 20 hours to get to earn the kind of income that you would get from one like real paying job. And it's a shame. And the more that voice actors, the more often that voice actors take work through some of these sort of low bidding sites, the more common it becomes, and the more clients expect that they can always get it at that rate. So you're actually doing yourself, you're doing the entire industry a disservice. That's the way I see it. That's my personal opinion, but yeah, I would I don't think I think again, great sites, that's fine, but not for us.
I I would agree. And no offense or shame to people who do the things.
Oh
Um,
yeah, no shame to anyone. Sure.
yeah, yeah. But it's these are things to think about in terms of, we've talked about this before. If you undersell yourself, you're underselling everyone, right? So like when you give yourself a reasonable rate, you're communicating that this is what we call industry standard, and that helps people um, you know, know what to do. And also, I love that Vanessa is like, can you suggest alternatives to dairy products like milk? I'm drinking an oat milk latte currently. That's my personal jam. Um, Andrew had asked a question. I think it was Andrew. Lord help me. Your names are all so beautiful, and the scrolls are crazy today. But so Andrew was asking about a YouTube channel for your demos, I think. And it was a very interesting question to me because I don't have one of those. So if people have feelings, and I know, okay, he said, Andrew Sharp, isn't that the name? Are you in the Magnetic Zeros? Isn't that the people do this to you all the time? But isn't that the band Andrew Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros? It is, right? It's a great band. Home is whenever I'm with you. It's that band. Yeah, that's your song. He sings that song. So okay, it's Edward Sharp. Okay. All right. So he says, any thoughts on having a YouTube channel for accessing demos? Do David, does that make any sense to you? Does that phrase make sense? Do we want to unpack that a little bit? Do people have examples of that? I know Dina said that was cool. Like, do we want me to unmute Andrew to kind of, do you want to know what he means by that?
Yeah, I think it's great to put your demos up on YouTube. There's no reason not to. The only thing that I caution someone for, sorry, let me say this differently. Look, the more you are out there in the world, the more likely you are to be found. So if you have demos and your bio and whatever you have on YouTube and a website, as well as other social media sites, LinkedIn and so on, that's great. Like slap your stuff everywhere. But my word of caution is that it also means that you have a lot more updating to do. You need to make sure that every site looks consistent. Well, you don't need to. I strongly encourage you to make sure that everything has a consistent look. I encourage you then to make sure that you are staying on top of all of these different sites. So if you are on YouTube, you should be making sure that you're checking regularly that, are you getting followers and you're following up with them and thanking them. And if you're getting questions or requests for work, you're on top of it, but doing the same with your website and doing the same for LinkedIn. So you have a lot more admin, which might be fine. And you might be on those sites all of the time anyway, in which case it's not a heck of a lot more work. It can be a lot of work making sure that everything looks consistent from site to site, because every site has their own I can't think of the way like the word the way that you can set up a site is different, like the tools that you can use to create the design. And it really is nice if everything has a consistent flow, the same photo or the same font, the same colors, your demos are labeled the same. If you update something on your website, you should also update it on YouTube. That is optimal. So if your users do click back and forth, then there's a consistency, and it's, like I said, super nice. And if you don't think you have that kind of time or that knowledge, or you don't have time every day to go check out all of these social sites, then maybe just stick to one place. But if you can do it, that's great. Sure.
Yeah, if people have examples of like YouTube channels that they like for your demo streams or things like that, I'd be really curious to see them. There's obviously so much you could do, and it can, be like getting it all set up can be a lot. But I think that's a really great question because I'm curious about, how that looks like when it's like looking good. Okay, so yeah, Delaware is really significant. Yeah, the LLCs, those are funny. Okay, I am going back up because there was another good question, and I have the floor, and I should have made sure that I had a question. Okay, so the classic question from Timmy, who missed the start. Timmy is a fella with a theater degree and a former radio guy. So, what is a good way to jump into the voiceover universe?
An evaluation. Even if you're a radio guy and theater, you still need an evaluation because voiceover is very different than being the radio guy. And by the way, when I hear the phrase radio guy, I assume that's sort of like the stereotypical puke that's used in broadcasting. And if you mean otherwise, let me know. But if you're talking about the typical puke, and if you're theater and you're being dramatic or theatrical, that's also very different than most voiceover applications. So you may even need an evaluation more than other people, right? Because you're using your voice in a different way. Like everyone naturally has their everyday speaking voice. And that's, for the most part, that's what voiceover is. So if you have trained and practiced for some number of years using your voice in different applications, which require a non-natural speaking voice, like the radio puke, like a theatrical stage performance, then you need to find out if you can remove those and come back to your natural voice when you're reading a script. So yeah, definitely an evaluation. I would be happy to evaluate you. You can speak with someone in our office and let them know.
Yeah, we do an evaluation, and if you're super spanking new, we have an investigate voiceover class that answers a whole heck of a lot of FAQs for what it means to begin your journey in this industry.
Yeah, and
Um, I-
that class, sorry, let me throw in the investigate voiceover class would be good for you also because there is a component of that class where the instructor of the class will listen to you read. So that would be helpful.
I want to kind of get to two questions quickly. So, David, there was a question earlier when we were talking about the multiple takes regarding, how you might say like acronyms or $50, 50 cents.
Mhm.
And so the participant was asking, should you send all three takes to the client and tell them to pick one, or should you what should you do?
I hate to say it, but it depends on the client. It depends on your relationship with them. Look, in a perfect world, you can send the client the take that you think is right, and send some alternates, right? And say in a very concise way in your email to them, you can say, because there are multiple ways to record $50.50, I've given you four takes of it. I've left one in the midst of the script. I think that one sounds best given the rest of the script and the tone and everything, but you have the alternates. But now, can your client really edit? If they're hiring you to do all of those edits, well, maybe they can't edit. So now they might listen back and say, oh yeah, we like take three. Well, then if you say, okay, well, it costs an extra $15 for me to edit on a take. Well, now you've sort of baited and switched them. So you may want to be clear up front saying, like, I gave you what I think is right. Here's some alternates. If you want me to edit one on, there's this fee, let them know up front. Or you can always edit it yourself. Or if you're working with a new client and trying to establish a really good relationship, which you always do anyway with every client, you might say, look, I recorded some extra takes. I'm happy to put one in, no charge. Just want to make sure that you are super happy. And then you can use it as a, a good working skill and really please your clients.
Yeah, one of the last things I did was like they wanted all these slides done in like one wave file, right? And it was like almost 10 minutes long. So the reality of them listening to all those takes is pretty listening. If I sent them multiple, like 10-minute files, they weren't going to probably The realities are, it was better that they were just like, oh, can you do this part different? I don't know, but it really depends. It's it's gonna depend. But
But so let me go back to that. Part of the thing, part of the way that you can all impress clients is by showing that you're smart at this stuff. And one of the ways that you can show that you're smart at this is by offering different takes. Because when the client writes a script, they're unfortunately they're not thinking about the voice actor. So they leave an abbreviation or an initialism or something like that, or the word, $50, 50 cents, and they don't even tell you how to say it, right? Do they want the abbreviation or not? Do they want $50 and 50 cents or $50, 50 cents or 50/50 or whatever permutations there are? They're just not thinking of the fact that you have to think about these things and there are alternates. They hear in their head one way, they forget that there are other ways. So that's a really great opportunity to show that you're thinking about them, that you're smart about this stuff. The most classic example, and this happens so often with scripts we receive, we'll get a script and the client will say, uh, in the CD, you will learn the following. And then we say, well, will it always be a CD? And they'll say, no, 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 we're planning on putting it online. We're planning on selling a DVD. I'm just making up this example. And we'll say, yeah, so maybe just call it in this program or in this presentation. So it works for all different media. And they'll say, oh, yeah, that's really smart. Well, now we've won them over just by showing that we can think ahead, that we're smart. And so when you can show that you're smart at voiceover, do so with a client. So let them know that there are multiple ways to read something, and because it's going to an international audience, perhaps you should say the word dollars. Maybe it's just a local spot in a local town. Maybe you want to keep it informal. Maybe you don't want to say the word dollars. It all depends, but show them that you're thinking about them, thinking about what's best for them.
in 1 minute, I want to address Scott because I feel bad for him because he said we triggered him. And he said, I have no social media footprint and would like to keep it that way. I'd also prefer to use a different last name as I did in my radio days. I'd rather not have ding dongs out there sending me junk or harassing me. Can you use a stage name in this business?
Sure, you can use any name as long as the check that comes to you, you can cash. Sure.
Yeah, that's the short answer. And a lot of people, we've had this conversation a lot. People who prefer to keep their VO different from some of their other work, their, day job, whatever it may be, right? I don't think there's any problem with creating a stage name, as it were,
Yeah,
an
it's just, but you
alias.
can think of it as a business name. I know voice actors who do a lot of X-rated audio, like romantic novels, romantic audiobooks, and a lot of the adult promos. Yeah, I guess you guys know what I mean. And I won't demonstrate, but they record a lot of those things, but they do it under a different name, so it's not in any way tied to their corporate narration. That might be their, another big percentage of their job. It's like two separate websites. They don't link to one another. Completely different looks, completely different names. As long as you can cash the check, you're fine.
Boom.
Well,
Okay, we did it. We nailed it. We in 2 minutes. I also want to say, you guys are totally wonderful, Amber. That's super awesome. That I think you mean that you utilized kind of your skill set of like I can do these edits and things, and she said she did that, and recently with a telephony gig, and they asked her back immediately for a video because she was skilled and efficient. And yeah, okay, we
yeah,
love to
that's
see
great.
that. That's really, really good. Okay. So with that being said, everyone, we are wrapping this up. And I love you and appreciate you all. So I'm just dropping some links real quick of our really good stuff here. For people who are curious about the IVO, here's the direct link to Investigate Voiceover for you to kind of begin your journey. Business and marketing consultations for people who are like, how do I represent myself? We can do that. I'm one of the people that can help you with that. Our foundation studies bundle is also a great way to get started with your foundation if you're trying to sort of figure things out and want to do more group classes with us here at Edge. Of course, also, we offer our AMA code for folks who want a private coaching session. I'm one of those people you could get a session with, or many of our plethora of voiceover talent with this link. You can also book one with Mr. Goldberg himself. Finally,
Understood.
our our resources. We like free stuff too. Okay, you make a user login and join our resource center and participate in our free audition contests, our rate cards. There's a lot of resources we want to make available because we know people are just starting out, and we want to be there to support you in addition to, of course, paying our staff to be able to continue to offer support. So all right, it is 11 o'clock. David, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Siobhan, you rock it as always. Isn't Siobhan great? I say it every class, every Ask Me Anything. Siobhan, you rock and roll. You guys had, and I say this also, but great questions again. Really, really like excellent questions. They're very fun to answer. So I really appreciate the questions. I love these. I hope you join us next. We'll be back in 2 weeks for episode number 37. And yeah, use the code. If you guys want to train with me or want a private session with me, a consultation or something, use the code that Siobhan just stuck up on your screen. I enjoy
Yeah.
working with any of you, helping you any way I can.
It's totally wonderful. And the comments, I just appreciate you all so much. And thanks for all related, David, why the reasons why you said you come here. And if you want to talk to me on social media about something you'd like to see us do or talk about, or themes, or someone who could specialize in something you're curious about, that is uplifting and not depressing, like let's we're going to keep the positive energy going here. But you guys are totally wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, David, for being with us. And we will see you again. We will see you on Holy Cats on August 19th.
Wow.
uh, I know. Whoa. And same time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Everyone else can do the math. The math gets hard for me beyond that. But thank you, thank you, thank you. It's really good to see you. And I love that as the group filters, the screens change and I get to see Cleon, I get to see Kyle. My man John is always here. Dina had to go, but we love her and her regular presence. Patricia, it's great to have you. Donald, Tara, thanks for being with us. And Luke, of course, with the blue shades going, the blue tint, I really appreciate. Tim, love to see you. Okay, my people. Also, wait, Jean, I saw you doing this, and I'm just right back at you, my friend. Yeah. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful week and 2 weeks, and we'll see you very soon. David, be well. Goodbye, my friends. This will be on YouTube this weekend. Mwah.